Hello students. So now we are going to discuss the new topic, which is mutable and immutable properties of data objects with respect to functions. Okay. So we have all have studied about mutable and immutable objects in the previous classes, also in class 11. All of you know that first of all, everything in Python is an object, and every object in Python can be either mutable or immutable, any of the two. Okay. So since everything in Python is an object, so every variable is holding an object instance. Every variable which is what is being held in a variable in Python, it is actually the reference to a value. So that value is an object. Okay. So every variable is holding an instance of an object. An object instance is held by every variable. Okay. So when an object is initiated, it is assigned a unique object ID. Object ID means what? That object ID is actually the location of the value in memory. Okay, that is the ID. That is the, and if you use the ID function, then you can easily access the memory location of the any variable. The memory location of the object which is being referenced by any variable can be accessed by using the id function. Just read id function in the previous classes also. No, its type is defined as runtime, and one set can never change. So the type of the object can never be changed once it is defined at runtime. It can never change, but its value could change if it is mutable. Okay, its state means the value of that object can change if it is a mutable object. Otherwise, if it is an immutable object, then the type as well as the state cannot be changed of an immutable object. Okay, it means that a mutable object can be changed after it is created, and an immutable object cannot be changed. Okay, now the list of some examples of mutable objects are list, dictionary, and sets, and immutable objects are int, float, complex, string, tuple, bytes, and so on. Okay, these are some common examples of mutable and immutable objects. Okay, now we come on to the how we can the main topic of today's video is how we can pass mutable and immutable objects to functions. Okay, see the type of referencing that Python is using is actually known as the call by object reference. See, other languages are using two types of referencing, which are call by value and call by reference. So mostly all the programming languages offer the freedom to the programmer that whatever calling mechanism he wants to choose, he can choose from either call by value or call by reference. Okay, but in the case of Python doesn't provide us with the freedom of choosing our own mechanism. Okay, it provides a type of mechanism which will be different for different type of objects. Okay, that type of mechanism is known as the call by object reference. Okay, it is also sometimes called as the call by sharing also. Okay, so what it is saying that if you pass arguments like whole numbers, strings, or tuples to a function, the passing is like call by value. Okay, so for immutable objects like whole numbers, strings, or tuples to a function, if you pass immutable objects like whole numbers, strings, or tuples to a function, then the passing will be treated as call by value. It is not actually treated, but it is very similar to what is a call by value. Okay, because we cannot change the value of the immutable objects which are being passed to the function. See what actually happens in call by value. The value of the immutable objects which are being passed is not being changed in the function. Even if we modify the value which we have passed using even if we modify the value of the immutable object, we try to modify, we will not be able to do so. Okay, because they are immutable, so we can't modify them within the function definition. Okay, but in the case of if you pass mutable objects to any function, then that passing can be considered as a call by reference. Why call by reference? Because we know that in call by reference, what happens? The reference of the object is being passed, and that reference of the object enables the function to modify the content of the original object also. Okay, the content of the original object is also modified. Okay, in the main function also it is modified, it is displayed. The changes will reflect in the defined in the call function as well as in the main function if we are using call by reference. Okay, so that call by reference is used in the case of mutable objects because those objects can be changed by the function. Okay, but in the case of immutable objects, we use the calling mechanism is like call by value. Why? Because like in call by value, what happens? The argument which is being passed, the changes which are being done in the function are not reflected in the main program. Okay, the changes are existing only in the function itself. They are not existing in the main program. In the main program, the value of the variable will remain as it is in the case of call by value, because it is not modified in the case of call by value. So that same mechanism is being followed in the case of immutable objects, because immutable objects can't be modified inside the function. Okay, now when we see the example, we'll understand this better. Now see one example of passing immutable objects to the functions. Okay, so in this example we are passing a list which is a mutable object to a function. So all of you know that what is the type of a list. A type is of a list is mutable. Okay, lists are mutable sequence. Okay, lists are mutable objects. So what happens, because lists are mutable sequences, it means that when we pass a list to a function, then that function will have the freedom of modifying the original list which has been passed to it as an argument. So here what we are doing, just first of all let's see the main example here. What is there in the main function in line number 7? Starting from line number 7, you can see first of all we have created a tuple. We have created a list here with the name assigned to the variable n. Okay, the n is a variable which is holding the object which is a list, and there are two members in the list 50, 60. And then what we are doing, we are using the id function to print the id of the list which is given in the first output which is shown in the shell. It is the output which is the output of the id function. Okay, id function, it is the, here it is showing the memory location of this n. Okay, now after that we have defined the update list function which is trying to update this list. So we are calling this function, we are passing n as a parameter. Okay, then what will happen, inside the update list function this list will be passed, and this is received by the list1 parameter. And then first of all we will, inside the function again we will print the id of the list1 object, and again, and after that what we will do, we will try to append this element 10 to the list by using the plus equal to operator. Okay, we will try to append this 10 element to the list, and let us see what if it happens or not. Okay, actually this will happen because the list is mutable object, so you will be able to add an element to the list, and because it is in this case it is a pass by reference. So what will happen, the object reference will be passed to the function, and the function will be able to modify the mutable object because it is modifiable. Okay, so what will happen, the changes will be reflected in the original list itself, the list n which we have passed. Actually we are modifying the list1 inside the function. Okay, but whatever modification we do to the list1, okay, because that list1 is referring to the same object which is referred by n, so the list1 will modify the original object also, and that is why the changes will be reflected in the list n also. The list n will also show the updated list which we have updated inside the update list function into the, by assigning it into by updating it in the list1 variable. So that the value of the list1 variable will be the same value which will be shown in the, which will be reflected in the list n in the main function also. Okay, so after that what we are doing after in the update list function, first of all we will update the list by adding the element 10 to it, and then what we will again do, we are again now using the id function to check whether the id of the object has changed after updation or not. Okay, what is the purpose of this print function in line number 5? It is very important concept. The objective of using print statement line number 5 is to check, whether the id of list1 after the updation has changed, or it is the same id as it was before of the variable n, the list n which was passed to it. Yeah, when we see here, we can see that all these three cases, before calling the function, after calling the function, and after updating the list also. Even after updating the list, you can see that in all the three cases the id of the function is the id of the list object is the same. So you can see that in all these three cases the list which is being modified, the list object which is being modified and accessed is the same. Okay, that is why for every time using the id function we are getting the same value of the id. Okay, now this list function, this update list function will end, and then what we have done, we have printed the value of n here. We can see that even outside the function, the same value of n which was updated inside the list, the same value of the list which was updated in the variable list1 inside the list, that is being reflected in n also here. When you're printing n here, you will get the updated list1 only here, which is 50, 60, 10. This 10 was appended into the list inside the function, and the same list is being reflected in n also. Okay, now you can print the id of n here. I can see that again it is the same thing which was there previously. Okay, so we can see now in this above function list1, this object is being passed, and the list1 object is being passed, and its contents are changing because it is mutable. That is why it is behaving like pass by reference. Okay, now in this example, what we are going to do, we are going to pass now we are going to pass an integer into the function. Why we are going to pass integer? Because an integer is an example of an immutable object. Okay, even an integer is an object, and what type of object it is? It is a immutable object. Even floats are immutable objects. So here we are going to use an integer for passing into the function, and let us see what happens here. So here again the same thing is that actually the function is slightly different here. What we have done inside the function, here we are trying to add a number. Here we have passed an integer into the function which is update number function. Here it is taking the number n, the parameter n. Here what we are passing, here first of all in the main function we have initialized the value, initialize variable b with the value 5, which is an integer here, and we are passing this integer variable b into the function which is update number. So because this integer is immutable object, so what will happen? This value which will be received in the by the update number will be only the value. And what will happen? This value, because it is immutable, so what will happen if you try to modify that? We will not be able to modify the value of the original object. What will happen? A copy of that object will be created inside the function, and then what will happen? That copy will be that copy value will be added to 10. And what will happen now? Again we will get a new variable which is what happens? What will be stored in, what will n point to? We can see the n will now point to a new object. Why a new object? Because that object which was previously passed to it has been that object which was passed to it has been copied here. Okay, what happens? We were passing b to this function, but what has happened after the function has received the argument? It has created a copy of the function, copy of the value. Copy of the value of b means copy of 5. Okay, and what it has done? Now it has tried to update this copy by adding it to 10. Okay, so now what happens? Now n will hold the value 15, but that 15 will not be the object which is actually which was being passed to it. Okay, you can check this by printing the id values here. Here first of all what we have done, before passing b to the update number function, here what I have done, in the first line we have accessed the id of this b object. You can see this is the object which was before passing the value to the function. Okay, so again you see this in the second output line. What is there? The second output pertains to the print statement which is given on line number 3. This line number 3 means it is inside the function definition of update number function. So what is happening here? Here before updating this value of n, we are trying to print the id of n. Again we can see that this n which was received, again it is holding the same id. It is having the same id, means that the function id, the reference of the reference of the object was passed to this function, and it has been received also. Okay, again, but what is happening up till now? These two functions, these two objects are the same. Okay, which has been received by the update number. But now we see that as soon as we try to modify this in the line number 4, we are trying to modify this value, but this value is unmodifiable. So what will Python do now? Python will now create a value. Python will now create a copy of this value, copy of this value 5, object 5, and what it will do? It will modify this value after copying, and the modified value will now be assigned to a new variable, and now a new object has been created within the function which has a local scope. This object is having a local scope. Okay, it means that now whatever is a modified object represented by n, this n will have its existence only inside the function itself. Okay, function update number itself. Outside the update number function, this n will not have any existence. This object will not be available. The scope will not be there outside the update number function. Okay, this variable, this n will be, this object will be existing only inside the update number function, and it will hold a different object. What value it will be holding? It will be holding the value 15, which is a totally different object, and that is why we see the output of line number 5 is the third. The output line number 5, the print statement, is the third output. What is the third output here? See, you can see that the first two print statements are having the identical output. Okay, but you can see the third print statement is giving you the object id which is different from the two. Why? Because this is the id of a different object which has been created by copying that object's value and then assigning it to a different variable. Now a different object has been created in the function which is having a local scope, and this object's id has been printed by the function using the print statement here. Okay, is it clear to all of you? Now again, when we finish this when this function has finished executing and we return back to the main function, then what will happen? Again, if you try to print the value of b, now this value b will not be shown as 15, because 15 was the value of n when it was inside the function, but that value of value of n was referring to a different object, which was referring to a different object than the b object. Okay, that b object which I have passed to the function, that was different from the object which was held by the n value after updation. Before updation, they both were referring to the same object, but after updation has occurred, both are now referring to the different objects. That is why both are having the different IDs. Okay, b is having a different ID, and now n which was inside the function was having a different ID. So after we come out of the function has finish executing. Now we see that when you print b is still having the value of the original object only. The value of the original object was 5, okay, which was b was initially assigned. So it is still holding that initial value of that initial object only, and the same thing is being printed here. Now again, when you print b, it will give you 5. Then again the same value. Now when you print the ID of b, it will again give you the same memory location which was there for the initial value when the object was created. The whatever memory location, whatever ID it was having at the start, the same ID it will having at the stop only. So now it is clear to all of you that when you pass an integer or any immutable object to a function like any tuple or a string also, then what will happen? That object since because all these type of objects are immutable, so what will happen inside the function? Its original value will not be modified. It will only the function will do, the function will create a copy of that variable, and then it will try to modify that copy, and it will assign that modified value to some new variable. Okay, so some new variable, some new object reference will be created. A new object with a reference of that value will be created, and that will be assigned to some new variable which will be having a local scope like shown in this function. Okay, so in above function, value of variable b is not being changed because it is immutable. That is why it is behaving like pass by value. So I hope these two passing mechanisms, this passing by object is clear to all of you. Okay, now in the next video we will continue with the passing of different type of objects in your functions, like passing of lists, passing of tuples, and so on. These different topics will be discussed in the coming videos. Till then, goodbye.